This is creature number 2 in our Sculpting Basics Creature Series. In this video, we'll be sculpting this creature here. Be sure to check out the intro to this series where we review the sculpting tools we'll be using throughout the series, as well as remeshing. The first step was to do some initial sketching from a variety of references of animals both current and extinct to come up with some unique characters. From those sketches, I zeroed in on this creature here. I took that initial sketch and expanded it into different views for side, front, back, and top, and added some color. And I used those sketches as a guide for the sculpture. The first thing we'll do is set up our multi-view workspace. In the bottom right, hover until you see a plus sign. Drag to split the view in half. Then do the same to split the left half in half. In the lower left, hit the 1 key on the numpad for a front view. In the upper left, hit 7 on the numpad for a top view. Next, hit A for select all, then X to remove the default cube, camera, and light. Next, we'll import the images to be used as reference. Go to the front view by clicking 1 on the numpad. Import the reference image. In the Properties panel, go to the Object Data Properties tab for the image object. Reduce opacity to 0.1, and for the depth setting, click on Front. Go to Side View by clicking 3 on the numpad. Import the reference image. In the Properties, reduce opacity to 0.1, and click on Front. Go to Top View by clicking 7 on the numpad. Import the reference image. In the Properties, reduce opacity to 0.1, and click on Front. We'll size the image down a bit. Go to the Add menu and add a UV sphere. Add a subsurface modifier. Then apply the subsurface modifier. Go into Sculpt mode. Remesh to 0.05. And then sculpt. I'll be switching back and forth between the Elastic DeformTool, Grab Tool, and the Snake Hook Tool. Check out the intro video of the series for an in-depth tutorial on each of those tools. Go to Side View and Sculpt. We'll add the tail. Go to Top View and Sculpt. Remesh to 0.01. Then smooth overall. Next, we'll refine the shape by adding and subtracting some volume. Next, we'll add a crease for the mouth. Then creases around the neck. We'll add a crease along the side. And then create the stomach ridges. Next, we'll make some overall refinements. Next up, we'll add the arms. Go to Object Mode, add a cylinder, scale down, size, and rotate. Add a UV sphere, size and place, and then duplicate the sphere. Add a subsurface modifier and then apply it. Do the same for the second sphere. Add a subdivision surface modifier to the cylinder, and we'll need to add loop cuts. Go into Edit Mode, hit Ctrl R, and then add a loop cut, and then move into place. Then repeat. Return to Object Mode. For the lower sphere, we'll size it to make a hand. Next, we'll select all three objects and hit Ctrl J to join. Go into Sculpt Mode, remesh at 0.01. First, we'll smooth the object with the Smooth tool. Then with the Clay tool, we'll blend the objects, switching back and forth between adding and subtracting volume by toggling the Control key. We'll use the elastic Deform tool to move the shoulder in. Continue to shape with the Clay tool. We'll use the elastic Deform tool to put a little bend in the arm. Next, we'll add fingers. In Object Mode, add a UV sphere, add a subsurface modifier, and then apply. Resize and move into place. Then we'll repeat those steps for the second finger. Now we'll use the mirror modifier to duplicate the arm for the left side. Select the arm, add a mirror modifier, go into Edit Mode, click on Toggle X-ray, select the mesh, and then move to Separate. Return to Object Mode, apply the modifier, go to Edit Mode, select the mesh of one of the arms, click on the P key to separate, return to Object Mode, move into place, then duplicate the fingers and move into place. Next up is the legs. Turn on the reference for the side view, add a cylinder, size down, scale, apply all transformations and set origin to geometry. Add a UV sphere, size down and move into place. Add a subsurface modifier to the cylinder, go into edit mode, toggle X-ray, and then add loop cuts. Switch back to object mode, select the sphere, add a subsurface modifier, and apply the modifier. Join the sphere and cylinder by hitting Ctrl-J, switch into sculpt mode. Remesh at 0.01. Use the clay tool to sculpt. Turn off the reference. Remesh at 0.007. Then smooth. Use the clay tool to flatten the bottom of the feet. Next, we'll add the toes, add a UV sphere, scale down, and size, add a subsurface modifier and apply it, move into place, and duplicate it for the second toe. Go to sculpt mode, and we'll make some adjustments on the toe. Then repeat for the second toe. Next, we'll go back to the leg and build up some skin around the toes. Then smooth it out. We'll add a bit of a knee. Next, we'll duplicate the leg for the left leg. Select the leg and add a mirror modifier. Go into edit mode, click on toggle X-ray, select the mesh, then separate. Switch back to object mode and apply. Go back to edit mode and select one of the legs. Click on the P key to separate. Return to object mode. Move the legs into place. We'll do the same for the toes. First, select both toes and hit Ctrl-J to join. Add a mirror modifier. Go into edit mode. Select the mesh and move to separate. Switch back to object mode. Apply the modifier. Switch back to edit mode. Select a set of the toes. Click on P to separate. Return to object mode and move into place. Next up is the eyes. Turn on the reference for the side. Add a cylinder. Size and move into place. Increase the height. Switch to edit mode. Add loop cuts by clicking Ctrl-R. Then scroll to add multiple cuts. Go back to object mode. Apply all transitions and set origin to geometry. We'll add a simple deform modifier in order to bend the cylinder. Select Bend, and then adjust the angle. Size and move into place. Apply the simple deform modifier. Add a subdivision surface modifier, go to Edit Mode, and add a loop cut at the top and bottom. Switch back to Object Mode, and apply the modifier. Next, we'll add a UV sphere for the area that connects the antenna to the eye. Add a subdivision surface modifier and apply. Then dupe the sphere for the eye. Move the group into place, and then dupe for the left eye. Next, we'll size down the left eye and make some adjustments. We'll add some volume around the base of the antenna. And make some adjustments so the antenna tapers. Next, we'll combine the parts of the antenna. On the right antenna, select the top part and go to Sculpt Mode and Remesh. Go back to Object Mode, select both parts, then click on Ctrl-J to join. Switch to Sculpt Mode, remesh, and smooth out the seam where the parts connect. We'll repeat this for the left antenna. Select the top part, go to Sculpt Mode, remesh, return to Object Mode, select both objects and join, switch to Sculpt Mode and remesh, then smooth out the seam where the parts connect, and then do some overall smoothing. Next up are the teeth. Turn on the side reference, add a UV sphere, size down and move into place. Add a subdivision surface modifier and apply. Make some adjustments. Apply all transformations and set origin to geometry. Switch into Sculpt Mode, remesh to 0.007, turn on mirroring on the x-axis. Use the Grab tool to make some adjustments. Go to Object Mode and select the body. Switch to Sculpt Mode. Make some adjustments to make room for the teeth. Also use the clay tool to reduce some volume to make room. Duplicate the tooth. We'll use the Inflate tool to add some volume on the upper lip. And then use the clay tool to refine. Next, we'll duplicate the teeth for the left side using a mirror modifier. Select both teeth and click on Ctrl-J for join. Apply all transformations and set origin to geometry. Go to Edit Mode and toggle X-ray, then select the mesh and move to Separate. Switch back to Object Mode and apply the modifier. Go back to Edit Mode, select the right pair of teeth, and click on P to separate. Switch back to Object Mode and move into place. Next, we'll add some texture to the body to create a reptile-like skin. We'll do this by changing some brush settings. Select the body, go to Sculpt Mode, and select the Inflate Tool. Open the sidebar, click on the Tool tab. Under Brush Settings, change the radius unit to Scene. This will maintain a consistent stroke size. Change radius to 0.05, change strength to 0.8. Under Stroke, change spacing to 20% and jitter to 1.0. Then apply the texture. Next, we'll add some texture to the arms and legs. Go to Object Mode and select the right arm. Switch into Sculpt Mode. Change the radius size to 0.03 and add texture. Then we'll repeat for the other arms and legs. Go to Object Mode and select the left arm, then back to Sculpt Mode and add texture. Go to Object Mode and select the right leg, then back to Sculpt Mode and add texture. And go to Object Mode and select the left leg, then back to Sculpt Mode and add texture. Next up, we'll be moving into texture painting and adding color. But before that, in order to see the color, we'll need to add some lighting. In Viewport Shading, go to Render Preview. In Object Mode, go to Add, then to Light, and choose Area. Go to Front View by hitting 1 on the numpad. Move the light into place. In the Properties panel, in the Object Properties tab, increase the power to 150. Rotate holding the Control key for an incremental rotation. Move into place. Hit 7 on the numpad for a top view. Duplicate. Rotate. Then select both lights. Duplicate. Rotate 45 degrees. Select and rotate 45 degrees again. Next, we'll add light for the lower area. Go to Add, then Light, and choose Area. Move the light into place and rotate holding the Control key for incremental rotation. Hit 7 on the numpad for a top view. Duplicate and move into place. Rotate. Select both lights and rotate 90 degrees. Next, we'll texture paint the body. First, we'll collapse the multi-view. In the bottom left, click on the upper right of the panel and drag. Then in the right panel, click on the upper left and drag. Next, we'll create a UV map in order to be able to texture paint. Go into Edit Mode, click on the mesh, then click the L key to select the mesh. Go to UV and select Smart UV Project. Go back to Texture Paint in the Properties panel and go to the Active Tool tab. Add a texture paint slot. We'll name it Body. Change pixels to 2048 and choose a temporary color. Open the toolbar. We'll choose a green hex color. Create a color palette and add the color. Choose the paint bucket and fill the color. We'll add an orange hex color. Go to Fall Off and choose Constant. Choose the brush tool. Then we'll paint. Use the smear tool to soften the edges. Next, we'll texture paint the eyes in order to add pupils. Go to Object Mode and select the right eye. Go to Edit Mode, go to UV and select UV Smart Project. Go back to Texture Paint Mode. In the Properties panel, go to the Active Tool tab. Add a texture paint slot and we'll name it Eye. Click on the Paint Bucket tool in the toolbar, create a white color and add the color to the palette, then fill the eye white. Choose the Brush tool, go to Fall Off and choose Constant. Then we'll add the pupil. We'll repeat those steps for the left eye. Go to Object Mode, select the left eye, go to Edit Mode, go to UV, select UV Smart Project. Go back to Texture Paint Mode. In the Properties panel, go to the Active Tool tab, add a texture paint slot, and we'll name it Eye Left. Click on the Paint Bucket tool in the toolbar, choose white, then fill the eye white. Choose black and add the pupil. For the rest of the parts, we won't need to create a texture paint slot. We'll just need to add color. Go to Object Mode, select the right arm. In the Properties panel, go to the Materials Property tab and add a color. Repeat for the other arm, legs, and antennas. For the fingers and toes, we'll create an ivory color and then apply. Next, we'll create a base. Go to Add and then add a circle. Move into place. Go to Edit Mode and Fill. Extrude the circle by clicking on the E key. Go back to Object Mode. Add a subdivision surface modifier. Then go back to Edit Mode. We'll add edge loops and insets to offset the effect of the subdivision surface modifier. Select a face, then hit Ctrl R to create an edge loop, and then repeat. Select an edge, then hit the I key to create an inset, and repeat on the bottom. Go back to Object Mode, and then we'll add a color to the base. The last thing we'll do is add an additional effect to the color materials to create a bit of a glossy effect. Turn off Show Overlays. Go to the Materials tab in the Properties panel and reduce the roughness for each material. That concludes the second creature in our creature series. Thanks for watching. I welcome your feedback in the comments, and if you found this video useful, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.